again, dear viewers, you're watching ERi-TV. Welcome to this week's open mic session with my guest for this evening, Mr. Ibrahim Sambuli. He is the UNFPA representative in Eritrea. Welcome to our program, Mr. Ibrahim.
Thank you, Rafael.
Okay, all right. So just please do tell me about the UNFPA and your term here in Eritrea.
Thank you very much, and really appreciate the effort of inviting me here. As you said, I'm the UNFPA representative in Eritrea, and I have been here now close to 3 years. And based on our tour of duty, I'm coming to the end of my assignment in Eritrea. I was here since August 2016, so now I'm coming to the end of the tour of duty, which happens to is already set for all of us in the different countries.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Okay, so Mr. Ibrahim, I just wanted to tell me, you have completed your tour of working here, and the level of cooperation that has been reached between the government of Eritrea and in UNFPA, as well as particularly the Ministry of Health. I want you to tell me those advances in those arenas.
Thank you. In fact, what I'll go a little back and let you know that UNFPA now has been in Eritrea for 26 years. We started our cooperation directly with the government of Eritrea in 1993. Now, over that period, we have been cooperating on the basis of 5-year programs. Now, the current program, which we are collaborating with the government, is based on the current strategic partnership cooperation framework, which is set for all UN agencies, and the current one runs from 2017 to 2021. That is the basis of our own program of cooperation, which we have developed with the government of Eritrea. Mm-hmm. And this overall cooperation has 4 components. The first component is sexual and reproductive health, where our main interlocutor is the Ministry of Health. The second component is gender equality and empowerment of women and girls. And here we work very closely with the National Union of Eritrean Women. Then we have the third component, which is adolescent and youth reproductive health. Here again, we work with the Ministry of Health as well as the National Union of Eritrean Youth and Students. And then we have the last component, which is data for development. Again, here our cooperation is the Ministry of National Development, particularly the National Statistics Office. So overall, those are the components that we are collaborating with the government of Eritrea. Now, when we come specifically to the Ministry of Health, as I've mentioned, we have the component of the overall sexual and reproductive health and some component of the adolescent and youth reproductive health. And this again is based specifically on the strategic development plan of the Ministry of Health and the Eritrean, the government frameworks. So that is where we also base our collaborations. Mm-hmm. So with the Ministry of Health, on the area of sexual and reproductive health, our collaboration is based on specifically reducing maternal and newborn health. And in that area, we have sections like, for instance, ensuring availability of family planning methods, on all the areas. This is a national-wide program. Mm-hmm. We have also the area of working in collaboration with the ministry in the area of emergency obstetric care. Mm-hmm. And this again is more of a national approach, because we are working in different referral hospitals, including, of course, the Mendefera Referral Hospital, which we are also collaborating with the ministry in the area of fistula. So those are the major components, and in addition to that, again, based on the ministry's plan on human resources, we are also collaborating on capacity development, where we have a number of anesthetists, we have a number of gynecologists, which the ministry, we have worked together to be able to get them to some of these facilities to make sure that all cases of emergency obstetric care are attended to. The last component, particularly for the Ministry of Health, we have, in collaboration with the communities, maternity waiting homes. Now, this is a very important area, because these maternity waiting homes are actually put up by the communities themselves. Mm-hmm. And this is where, I would really like to commend the spirit of the people of Eritrea in terms of self-reliance. They put up the maternity waiting homes themselves, and the only other extra support they get is from the Eritreans in diaspora, particularly the women Eritreans in diaspora. That's the only other support they get, but this is put up with the community, so we only come in terms of equipment, in terms of other medical services, to make sure that these women are near health facilities when they want to deliver. As you know, in most of our countries, even in the whole of Africa, health facilities may not be well distributed all over. So what we have been working with the ministries to make sure that those women are really in the rural or far to reach areas are able to be brought near health facilities and be able to deliver under the care of trained health providers and under the care of the available equipment.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So yesterday we celebrated National Fistula Day, and I want you to tell me about that as we go along in this interview.
Thank you very much. Fistula is one condition which affects women, and it is related also on pregnancy, on the time it takes for this woman to be assisted to deliver, and also it has some link with harmful practices such as female genital mutilation. So what happens is that if a woman is pregnant and maybe the labor takes too long, or there is no support in terms of delivery, then there could occur a tear between her reproductive organ, in which case she develops what we call obstetric fistula. And this is one condition that may result into perhaps the woman passing things like urine uncontrollably. And this is one area that the government, and particularly the Ministry of Health, has taken very, very strongly, because it's a condition which it may look shameful, it may look stigmatizing of that woman, and therefore the Ministry of Health has taken it very, very seriously to establish a fistula center at Mendefera Hospital. And through that center, we always come together every year to be able to mobilize the women in the different areas that are affected by this condition to come and have reconstructive surgery. And therefore, since 2003, UNFPA globally launched this campaign with partners. They launched this campaign to make sure that in any country that we have this condition, it's addressed, people are sensitized, communities are sensitized to show that this is not a terminal illness, this is something that can be prevented, this is something that can be cured. And therefore, what we were celebrating in Mendefera yesterday was the International Day to End Fistula. Mm-hmm. This is one campaign that is done globally, but each country chooses their own date to celebrate. So for Eritrea, the government chose on 11th June, and that's what we were celebrating. For those who were there would have seen that we had a very good testimony of women who previously had this condition. They were able to be treated, they were able to be cured, and some even started having children after that, while the condition looked like the woman will never have children. So we are really happy on the effort that the government is making in this particular area, because when we talk of the motto, the global motto of leaving no one behind, we do not want a certain section of the population who may be afflicted by such a condition to be left behind in terms of their reproductive needs, in terms of their sexuality. So this is why we have tried to work very hard with the Ministry of Health to make sure that this condition is addressed. And you could see that apart from the testimonies, the women who have benefited from this treatment were really of high praise of the medical personnel that were helped them to go through this treatment process.
Okay. Yeah. Mr. Ibrahim, with that, I want you to tell me, I'm sure you have a lot of cooperation with the Ministry of Health, and we have scored tremendously in the health arena. Yes. Here in this country. I want you to tell me the advances that you have personally witnessed that perhaps we could be commended for.
Oh yes. In fact, according to the MDG report, Eritrea was one of the few countries that was able to achieve the Millennium Development Goals related to maternal health, child health, and infant health. It was one of the few countries, and you could see that all these efforts came about because of the way the government put out all those efforts, and also the community involvement. So it's one commendable thing is the achievement of those Millennium Development Goals. And in fact, further discussion has shown that the government is determined, particularly through Ministry of Health, to be able to reach the major sustainable development goals even before 2030. And that is possible from what we are seeing, the effort that the Ministry of Health has put into place. So given those achievements, particularly on maternal health, we are looking forward to Eritrea being one of the countries that can actually achieve zero maternal mortality by 2030 because of the efforts that have been able to be put in place. And for this, we are working very closely with the ministry in terms of collaborating in availing things like operation theater for emergency obstetric care in many areas, which can be reached by women from the rural or far off areas. So this is one thing that, again, it's very well stated in the Ministry of Health strategic plan, and we are working very closely as UNFPA and also in support with the other UN agencies. This is something that we are working as a team to make sure that those aspirations are made.
Okay. Mr. Ibrahim, are there any plans in the pipeline now to further enhance the cooperation with the Ministry of Health, perhaps in the rural areas, in the surgical places, in the surgical, in the operating theater that we have reached so far?
Yes, in fact, as I mentioned from the beginning, all our plans are based on the strategic partnership framework that the UN system has with the government. And then based on that, we have, as I said also, we have developed a direct program of collaboration with the Ministry of Health. So in that sense, what we are trying to do is to make sure that in areas where we have need for emergency obstetric care, that we can be able to work together and make sure at least there is an operating theater in attached to any of the health facilities or to the referral hospital that can be accessed by the majority of women who need that. In addition to the operation theater, the other collaborative area we are having is to have the necessary equipment to be availed in those areas that we would have developed, established operating theaters. In addition to the equipment and other medical supplies, we have set also to be able to collaborate in ensuring the availability of the necessary human resources. And this includes gynecologists, which again will make sure that there is at least one attached to one of those areas. We have also in the pipeline to be able to make sure that the ministry trains the required midwives to be attending to the needs of the pregnant women, as well as anesthetists. So this is based on the package of the Ministry of Health Human Resource Development Plan. So this is also part of the package that we have, which is ongoing, by the way. And this particular part will end in 2021, after which again we will develop another collaboration framework for another 5 years. As I said, normally our collaboration goes over for a period of 5 years. So in short, this is already been set, and we are hoping that with our collaboration, we should be able to see that the ministry achieves its aspiration of zero maternal death by the year 2030.
Mr. Ibrahim, you are completing your working tour here in Eritrea. I'm sure you have something to say about the people of Eritrea. And if you were to describe them in simple sentences, what would it be?
In fact, even without going into a sentence, because if I start describing, I might take a very long time. But even without going into sentence, the people of Eritrea have made me to see the meaning, the true meaning of the words self-reliance and resilience. Those are the words that I can be able to describe the people of Eritrea. Self-reliance and resilience. And all the time I have gone out to visit some of the programs that we are working together with the Ministry of Health. You could see that enthusiasm, that energy that is displayed not only by the community, but by the health personnel that are providing these services. And you could see that this is something that the people of Eritrea, one can say that the people who normally take their work very, very seriously, and they take it knowing that if they don't do it, nobody can come and do it. Most of us come here, like I will link our coming here, for example, like extension workers, agricultural extension workers. Because an agricultural extension worker, if you go to meet the farmer, you can give all your technical advice. But the bottom line, it will be the farmer who will dig the land, plant the crops, ensure that those crops are taken care of up to the harvest. And this is exactly from our technical support, our whatever we have been able to work with the people. It has depended with the people of Eritrea themselves to be able to achieve what we have seen. Going further to that, everywhere I have gone, you could see the friendliness, and somehow there's also quite a lot to eat. There's always ambasha being offered anywhere we go. And this is from the people themselves. This is from what they are producing. So if you recall my 2 words that I made, that is what that's what I'm taking with me. And I can assure you that apart from the work, which I've finished my tour of duty, I have established quite a number of friends, families, and you'll definitely see me visiting. Now in my personal capacity, not as a UNFPA representative.
Right. Mr. Ibrahim, we are actually running out of time, but if you have any final words to say to our viewers?
My final word, again, I would say, there's a lot which have been achieved in this country. There's a lot, quite a number of countries can learn on what is happening in this country. So what I would urge the people of Eritrea, just tell your story. Tell the story. However you have been able to achieve it, there's a lot many people can learn about it. Of course, when we go from here, we will be like part of ambassadors to say what Eritrea has done. But the main thing is for the people of Eritrea, tell the good things that are happening in this country, not only to learn about it, but also to see how you can, other people can be able to achieve a lot with a few resources, which are very well managed. Thank you.
Dear viewers, that wraps up this week's open mic. That was our guest, Mr. Ibrahim Sambuli, the UNFPA representative here in Eritrea, who has recently completed his tour of duty here in Eritrea, and we wish him all the best in his next assignment. All right. Again, it is good night from us.